The album is Black Tea, The Legend of Jessi James, and it will be out this fall, 2015. And Black Tea is a play on my mother. My mother was born in Wolverhampton, England, and is not an American citizen to this day. And my daddy was born in Alabama. So, that's the black part of my family. And Legend of Jessi James is kind of, Jessi James is a nickname that I got from Oaks and Talib back in Brooklyn. They're like, yo, they're like, you came to Brooklyn like a gangster, you like Jessi James. And I'm like, yeah. But I made Jessi James, when you see the album cover, it's all Native American imagery. And so my family is Cherokee Indian. So instead of it being this wild white boy cowboy, I made it into a warrior Native American woman. And so that's who Jessi James is. It's my heart on my sleeve. It's definitely not the most rowdy political album, that I thought I would have done. Sonically, the best thing I've ever done with my voice. So I'm super excited to perform the music. I recorded Black Tea, The Legend of Jessi James, at the Detroit Techno Museum on the 3rd floor. And so Mike Banks, where a lot of the techno guys have kind of, he travels all over the world, but he decided that he's gonna be one of the people that builds something in Detroit. And he has this beautiful space, the Techno Museum, Submerged Records, underground vinyl record store called Somewhere in Detroit. At that time, he had the studio set up, and I was looking for the perfect place to record my album, and so there it was. Historically, I'm connected to something beautiful, a space that has meaning. And so that energy is on the record. Wordsworth was funny because I always wanted to work with Wordsworth. I'm a big fan, and we're mutually fans of each other's work. I told him we were going to be in Miami. He's based in Fort Lauderdale with his family, and I said, well, I'm in town. And so we recorded his verse, literally in a hotel room, straight up. We set up the mics, just old school, set it up, and he killed the verse on The Legend of Jessi James. And so just people that you've loved and admired for a long time, showing up, and I was like, Talib, he's coming. He's like, of course he's coming. It's a pretty girl asking you to come to Miami, and I'm like, but no, he didn't have to show up. One Below and I have become very close, and he didn't know who the hell I was. I got introduced to him, and I was like, oh, I knew it was Binary Star, and I was familiar. And so it's funny, if he tells you the story, he kind of just blew me off, maybe as a groupie girl or something. He's like, oh, yeah. And I saw him perform a show, and I went up to him afterwards, and I was like, yo, you're supposed to know who I am. I was like, here, take my books. And I gave him 2 of my books, the first one and the second one or something. And then he read about me, read my books, and then he started traveling. He would just say my name to people. And he called me, he's like, yo, when I say your name to people, the reaction is chemical. He said, they'd be like, oh my God, Jessica Killah. And I was like, yeah, dude, I was trying to tell you, we family, because I'm not pretentious, and I'm humble. I don't care, I didn't care that he didn't know me. I just knew that he should have known me. I was like, and you don't know me, so know me now, and let's do some work together. So I ended up on his last album, so I'm on his album, destroying his track. He'll tell you himself, I destroyed his track. He was in Egypt, where he lives part-time, and he recorded Deep Breath in the studio in Egypt and sent us the track. So that's kind of dope, too. And a girl, Alicia Renee, I'm gonna say Blue, who's known as Blue Eyes, is an amazing vocalist I've known from Flint, Michigan, and I knew when I did Home Before the End of the World has this very Billie Holiday feel, and Blue has this voice that's just extraordinary, that's underused. And I asked her if she would come to Chicago. I said, I got this song, Poem Before the End of the World, and I need you on it. And so when you hear it, you hear what I'm saying. It's very much if you have just this few minutes left, on the planet, who do you want to be with? And what does that sound like? And so she gives us that crack in the voice that's necessary, that love thing. And Kenny Watts and I got a great song, Teach Me a Love Song, great little jams, a little kind of more R&B soul kind of thing. That's not really my thing, but it's got that little soul groove to it, and it's a real nice song. The album, we did it in, one day, in the studio. The other things Russell Gunn's track and some of the other stuff happened at different times, and Talib sent me a couple songs. The ones that I did with Catch Me If You Can is a great song. And You On Poems is really important because that's one of the singles. Roy Ayers is playing vibraphone on that. And I'll never forget calling him saying, Baba Roy, I got a record and I would love for you to play on it. And he's like, all right, little sister, I got you, daughter. Just say yes real fast. And it was everything. It's everything that he's playing on. I don't care if he just played ding. He would have just done that, ding. How many Roy Ayers did a ding on my record? But he supported me throughout the years. Anytime he was doing a show, if I wasn't officially on the show, he always put me on stage. We loved, he liked the interaction, of the poetry with the vibraphone. And so that's a really beautiful thing that happened. But Jose James from Blue Note is singing on the record. So Jose and I met in a very mystical kind of way, because another artist told me about his voice, and I was playing his music. A visual artist friend, Jules Arthur Art, a really amazing painter in New York City, and he was playing the music. And I was like, who's that voice? You know, he's like, that's Jose James. I said, I never heard of him. And I found out I was gonna be in LA and for a show, and he was gonna be in town at the same time. And so I just reached out randomly to Jose James. At that time he was following Gandhi. He had not signed his Deal to Blue Note. He was following nobody on Twitter. And I just said, hey, Brother Joe, I'm Jose. I just lost Gil Scott Heron, who was a dear friend of mine, and you know, someone I loved and admired. And I said, you remind me of my Baba Gil, you know, keep going. I just sent him like an encouraging word. He tweeted me back, what's up, Detroit Red, longtime fan. And I was like, what? I said, and he was fine as wine. I was like, oh, he knows me? Oh, it's a wrap. We got to do some work together. But Jose's really important because when I started listening to his music, his sensibility, his approach to his voice on the mic, it really reminded me of what I could do with my voice. And he's a big influence on my album. So I wrote You One poems. We knew him instantly. You meet an artist and we're like, okay, we have to do something together, like right now. And so I recorded something for his album, and we did a barter. So he offered me money to be on his album. I said, I don't want no money. Be on my album. I'm gonna write an album. I wrote that whole project after I met Jose and I heard what he was. I was like, I need to slow down. Wait a minute, you know, and I don't sing. Definitely can't sing. Like, he's singing like his voice like water. You know, I said, but I know bad vocalists. I said, I need to just slow down on this microphone, and sonically, I paid attention to what he was doing. I was like, he reminds me of me. I was like, he's got a poet sensibility, you know, with this really genuinely authentic, beautiful voice. But come to find out, we'd actually had met years ago when he was working in a flower shop on the Upper West Side, and he was a fan. And he said he came up to me and he said I was a big influence on him beginning to sing. I mean, that's crazy. I was like, what are you talking about? You're like Jose James. He was like, no, I loved your poetry, and I was a fan. And that's you never know who's paying attention, you know, you never know. And this world is small.
I grew up in Bed-Stuy, New York, the home of Biggie, the home of Jay-Z, you know, the home of Fabo. And it was a hopeless environment, but you can see the successes that have come.
I don't want to hear about it 6 months from now, talking about that you want to get it done. Just actually do it.
Every 45 minutes, we in the studio. It's like, yo, Rich, think you can make that run?
I wanted to sing, but I wanted to rap, and I wore a suit in church, but I wore these Adidas with Run DMC. You know?